Hi guys, it's Rachel. Welcome to this week's video. So for this week's video, I'm going to be giving little tips and tricks on how to get your money's worth in high school, because I feel like sometimes we feel like we aren't getting much out of it in return. This video is basically opening your eyes to the little tiny things around your school that you may not have noticed or may have rules against them that you can break. Shh, I didn't say that. So this video isn't going to be like obvious ways to get your money's worth, like attend, do your homework. This isn't that, because not all of us are the brightest students and not all of us can get our money's worth academically, if you know what I mean. The first one is to use the printer. Printers are expensive. They used your money to buy that printer. I don't care if like it's the morning of or it's the class before. If you're able to do it, use the printers at school. And another way to utilize it, don't only use the printer at school for school purposes. There have been times throughout my high school years, oh my god, I get to say that now, I'm so old. Use it for your own personal purposes. Fill up your water bottle at school using the water dispensers that the school bought using your money. Before I found this out, I filled up my water bottle at home and then I'd come to school and I'd go through the whole water bottle in, it's so hard to say water bottle. I'd go through the whole water bottle in one day and not fill it up using the school dispensers. And I think like, I just wasted like a fourth out. Invest in a water bottle. Don't buy water from the cafeteria because that is an added expense, which we are trying to minimize. And on top of that, keep drinking that water so you're not dehydrated, because you are beautiful and you are soulful and you need to stay awake in class, and water does that. And fill it up again because more money's worth. I mean, I know it makes sense to keep everything in your backpack and walk around like that because then it like saves time, but at the same time, back problems. Use your locker for storage. I actually kept clothes in my locker at one point and it became like a second closet for me. It's a good hide and seek spot if you're a tiny 7th grader. Talking from experience. No, don't eat my bugles. I've attracted the bees. What was I saying? Read books from the library. You never know what books your library actually has, because I didn't know my library had certain books and I only figured that out at the end of the year. But then I didn't get to read them because I never visited the library. So yeah, look at all the books. If you find anything interesting, read it. So you're not actually spending that extra money to go to a bookstore and buying it. You're welcome. Oh, the next one. I really hope like no one from the administrator in my school watches this, because I'm like exposing myself, but I don't go there anymore. But still, I respect them, and I did have a pretty good experience because I made the most out of it and I got my money's worth. Like recently, some people are scared like, oh, I don't want to get my IB remark because they don't have to pay that extra 1 point whatever it is, juta. If your school pays for it, then just remark, get it, appeal, get those grades, hun. The next one is also a take, because this entire video is about taking. It's very selfish that way. But no, you paid. You deserve this. The next one is to take things from the lost and found without whoever guards the lost and found knowing. In my school we had ties and I would always lose my ties, so I'd always take a tie. But there's this policy that like if you borrow something you have to return it. This is so bad, but basically the person would say like, okay, make sure you return it, and I'd just like smile and be like, yeah, okay, but not actually return it. Or maybe return it one time to like gain their trust, and then after that never return it again. That is such bad advice. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. No, but seriously, you lost your tie. One of those should be yours, right? So just, yeah, take from the lost and found. You need a water bottle? Oh my god, that solves the first one. If you can't invest in a water bottle, which is an added expense, go to the lost and found and take one bottle. Who actually goes to the lost and found to find their lost stuff? Like I go to the lost and found and I find like lunch boxes with princesses on them, and I'm like, that kid probably lost it on purpose. And yeah, it seems gross if you like take a bottle from the lost and found, but there's something called water and soap. Oh, another thing, in the office, they usually have other supplies, right? Paper, tape, laminating stuff. One of my friends, it's funny because we actually had this scheme this one time. We both would go into the office and I would talk to the person and distract her while my friend went around and was taking supplies, and then we just left and she got to use it for her own personal thing. So the next one is, it's kind of cliche, but basically build good relationships with your teachers, because those kinds of relationships is something that like money can't buy. You know what I mean? In this this case, it's you're not only getting what you paid for, an education from the teacher, but you're also getting a relationship with them and possibly lessons that's so much better than a normal high school experience. That was probably the only one good piece of advice in this whole video. Also, I was talking earlier about how you should attend to get your money's worth, but another thing is to not attend and instead fake a sickness or something and go to the health center. And if you're tired, sleep. What I used to do also is like this female understanding thing. Come in and you hold your bell and you're like, and they're like, oh, I got you. Like, that's beautiful. They always had pads, and so they'd literally save my life. They even had disposable underwear if I had a really bad case, which is great. Oh, butterfly. Oh, another one. This is one of my favorite ones. In a lot of stores, you can actually get discounts if you show your student ID. I've already graduated, but I still look like a 12-year-old, so I still show my student ID and I still get those discounts. So I'm getting my money's worth even after high school. Next, if you're gonna join a sports team, don't buy a jersey. Jerseys are so expensive. Get a hand-me-down. People who have graduated or people who don't play the sport anymore, if they're nice enough to just give it to you. The next thing is to poo in school. I know that sounds weird, and I know when I was in 7th and 8th grade, I would be so embarrassed and so shy to poo at school. And if you haven't heard, as you're about to fall, you flush so that no one can hear it and no one can smell it. And you paid for that irrigation system, so make the most out of it and use it. The next one, so you know, like in those school events or something, teachers or something stand at the door holding boxes of pencils and you're just supposed to reach in and take one, but then at the end they like stand there as well and they expect you to put the pencil back in. Yeah, don't give it back. Keep it. I don't know, hide it like in your pocket, your skirt, your hair. Then you save yourself buying another pencil, because I know we all lose our pencils every 2 weeks, or we lend our pencils to someone who we know is not going to return it. And if you're that person, steal pencils at school meeting things. Okay, so the next thing doesn't really apply to everyone. In my school, they had this rule where like you couldn't write in the textbooks or you couldn't highlight things because the year after was going to use them, which is kind of annoying because like some people, they've learned better if they can refer to whatever they highlighted during class when they study. So my tip here, which is kind of illegal, is to photocopy the textbook. Highlight that instead, write in that instead. Because technically, like the law is that you can't photocopy a book and redistribute it, right? But you're not redistributing. You're technically having something that's already yours that you already paid for. You just have a copy of that and you're writing in that, but you're not redistributing that. You know what I mean? There's that loophole. I find that a lot of the times, and I'm guilty of this too, if we weren't happy with something or if we felt like we weren't getting our money's worth, we'd just complain. You know, we'd complain to our friends. We talk bad about the school, but it's not about complaining, it's about who you complain to. Because complaining to your friends and everything won't change anything. You know, complain to someone who can do something about it. And first think of that someone as yourself, because if it's a personal matter, then fix yourself. But in other times, don't just bicker about it. Actually go to the person in a nice, polite, respectable manner. Because if you just barge into the office and start shouting at people, like demanding justice, and I'm guilty of this too, probability is that they are not gonna hear you because they will just dismiss your behavior as rash and not listen to you, which will then upset you even more, and you will continue this cycle of talking trash to the school and thinking that no one can do anything about it. But they can. The next thing is go to your counselors, be it an academic counselor, a college counselor, guidance counselor. Try to go to their office even when it's not application season. Like for college counseling, ask them questions beforehand, because I know I wish I went in sooner than everyone, because when that season rolls around, everyone's flooding her office and you have to set a meeting and like you can't meet her and you have to email her instead, and like things get lost with communication and everything. Even if it feels uncomfortable, like go to them and talk to them about your future or lack thereof, so you can figure something out. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video and I hope you got something out of it, and I hope you know your high school experience isn't all about the money, although we do get frustrated sometimes. Oh my gosh, I love crunchy leaves.